Who are we talking to?
Ourselves. Unfortunately, tonight we are down one of our members. Colin is not feeling well, so it'll be just me and Tori tonight.
However, we have discussed this topic with Colin, and we do have his notes, so I feel like he will be here with us in spirit anyway.
Yes. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about this new episode of Mc&Marren. Today we will be focusing on Disney villains who weren't wrong. And actually, this serves as a preview for our live panel discussion on the same topic at Arkansas Comic-Con this Saturday.
It's this Saturday at the State House Convention Center in Little Rock, Arkansas at 3:15. We will be in panel room 2 if you want to come out and see us. So before we get really into the meat of this topic, like Justin said, this is a preview. And what we're going to be talking about tonight were some characters that we thought deserved to be discussed, but we knew we were not going to have enough time at the panel.
Yeah, they give us only a limited amount of time to work with, so these are essentially honorable mentions or those who didn't quite make the cut.
And I'm sure this is a topic we will revisit again and again.
Oh, I'm sure.
And again, because the Disney villain pantheon is very, very large.
I mean, just looking at candidates for this panel discussion was a whole project in of itself, because there was almost, I think, 70 villains on the canon that Disney considers villains.
It's a huge list.
So, but we're gonna try and narrow it down as best we can. So let's go ahead and get started with our first round.
One disclaimer before we begin is that there are some villains who they may sound like they could fit into some of the categories that we are going to discuss this evening, but their actions are so not okay that we do not include them in this discussion. There is no way to justify what they did or said.
Cruella de Vil and Judge Claude Frollo, we're looking at you.
Exactly. And on the subject of Frollo, that's kind of leading us into our first topic, which is men of their time. These are Disney villains who, as the title name would suggest, are men. They are men of their times. Their actions can be justified by what was going on in the world. So with that said, we are going to start with Clayton from Disney's Tarzan.
So I'm just going to say this right now. As a zookeeper, I do not condone in any way, shape, or form what he did. Because his whole thing was he was going to capture gorillas and ship them off to London. Now, with all that being said, though, at the time that Tarzan took place, it was very common for zoos and for other facilities to take animals out of the wild to show them off to the public. So, in that sense, Clayton is just a man who's essentially doing his job, what he was hired to do.
Yeah, he was hired to get Jane and her father through the jungle and to find the gorillas.
Yeah.
Which essentially he did.
Yep.
Now, the subcontext of the relationship with Jane, that aside, I mean, if you were essentially a hunter and you go out into the jungle or forest and you find a wild man who is just pops out of the snow like daisies, what would your reaction be? Because I can almost guarantee that it would not be, oh yes, compassion and understanding, this is perfectly normal. Clayton keeps Tarzan at a very far distance because he doesn't trust him, just like Tarzan doesn't trust Clayton.
Also, Clayton is very focused on what he needs to do. He doesn't really want to take the time to, quote-unquote, civilize the wild man.
Exactly. So in that aspect, Clayton, was he a good guy? No.
Absolutely not.
But was he wrong?
I mean, his initial task of collecting the gorillas, no. Him and his crew essentially performed a mutiny on the ship captain, yeah.
Yeah, not cool. Next up, under men of their time, no one's as annoying as Gaston.
Now, you're the one that initially wanted Gaston for this topic, didn't you?
I am, and that is because he is a perfect example of a man of his time. So this is taking place sometime around the 1700s in France.
Yeah.
If you haven't studied up on your history, let's just say it's not a great time to be a royal in France.
Off with their heads.
But Gaston, he is a common man. He is a hunter. He has served his community in some way that has endeared him to everybody. He's strong. He's got a tavern. He's wealthy from a public person's perspective. He's everything that the girl should want. And that is no fault of his own. The problem here, and I am not saying that she is not a good character and that she is not deserving as a Disney princess, but the problem is that Belle is not the type of girl who's going to be attracted to that kind of a guy. But that doesn't make him a bad guy. He would have been a wonderful husband to any of the three barmaidens, and Lord knows they were willing to be his wife.
I mean, they were constantly fawning over him throughout, the first song of the movie.
But for a non-royal in France, he is perfect. He can provide. He can get you food. He won't listen to you, but historically, that's not a thing people do.
I mean, in any other Disney film, he would probably be the hero.
Yeah. I mean, save a beautiful maiden from a scary beast. That's the basis of every fairy tale.
I mean, the best song, in my opinion, of the movie, the mob song, Gaston is essentially leading the townspeople against the charge of a horrific monster in a dark castle that's been abandoned. So it's like, now, granted, we all know that, the Beast and Belle, they fall in love and blah, 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 blah. But just, let's say you're looking at it from a person in the town's perspective. Gaston, who is the town hero, comes to you and says there's a horrible monster in the woods in a dark castle that will, as the song goes, make off with your children, come after them in the night. Wouldn't you follow him into battle against this monster?
Yeah, like I said, handsome man saves beautiful girl from beast in tower. It's the basis of every fairy tale.
Now, obviously, we can't condone everything he does.
No, getting the girl you're interested in's father committed to the psych ward is not gonna win you any points.
Also, the fact that during his fight with the Beast, he constantly refers to Belle as his, or Belle is mine. He's kind of like referring to her as property more than anything else.
Yeah, we don't like that. But once again, he is a man of his time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a dark history, and unfortunately it's true, but marriage as a concept of love is not that old. I mean, the song says tale as old as time, but it really wasn't for Gaston. Now, I had a thought, and I missed it. There went the train. Oh, I remember what it was. The fact that, also, we said we can't really condone him getting her dad locked up.
No.
But if an elderly man came into a bar and started ranting and raving about a castle where the dinnerware talks to you,
and there's a giant monster,
is it so far out of the realm of possibility to think the crazy inventor has finally lost his mind?
No, but he's not doing that because he thinks Maurice is crazy. He's doing that to get Belle to come back to him.
I think he does think Maurice is crazy, and he's killing two birds with one stone.
True.
But so the ultimate question is, was Gaston wrong? I'm going to go with no, because once again, handsome, attractive man saving beautiful girl from beast in tower is the basis of fairy tales.
Yeah. Now, I do love the fan theory that surrounds Gaston, that he was the hunter that killed Bambi's mom.
But that is also not a villain who was wrong.
No.
I mean, we were all crushed the first time we saw Bambi's mom die.
I mean, well, we didn't really see her die. We just heard the gunshot, and all of a sudden, Bambi's dad shows up, and he's like, "Your mother can't be with you anymore." And it's just like, and
we all know what happens. It is a very tragic way to introduce small children to the idea of hunting.
And death.
Exactly. Which Disney does a really good job of just twisting that emotional knife.
Mm-hmm.
But a hunter is not necessarily a villain. That man in the woods, whether he was Gaston or not, maybe he was Gaston, maybe he was just some hunter named Paul.
Paul.
I don't know. It sounds like a weird name you'd never call a hunter.
Sure.
Anywho, whether that be the case, he is just out hunting deer.
Yeah.
Most likely for venison.
Now, for those of you that are basically like, he shot a doe. During deer hunting season, you are allowed to hunt a certain number of does. So, him going after a doe is not necessarily a bad thing.
So, once again, the question, the hunter, is he wrong? No, because he's doing what hunters do.
Yeah.
Now, and it's not like he didn't run down Bambi's mom with a car.
No.
He hunted in the way that humans hunt.
Yeah.
All right, but I feel like we have successfully brushed the waters of men of their time. And I want to switch now to the opposite gender, a woman of her time.
Lady Tremaine.
Yes, Lady Tremaine, arguably woman of her time in terms of villain, because she is, let's just say, she's not a nice lady.
She is the quote-unquote, the evil stepmother that we all picture whenever we hear the word evil stepmother.
But being a not nice person is not a crime.
No, but she did make Cinderella's life miserable.
Once again, though, not a crime. Now, hear me out. Lady Tremaine marries Cinderella's father. He's a widower. We know this because her mom is gone. So she marries this man who already has a kid. She also already has 2 children.
Yep. And Cinderella's father, while we don't really know what he does, he is in the, I guess, upper middle class at the time, because he has a nice house, he has a stable, he has a small farm, but he doesn't have like a castle or anything like that.
No, but they're not poor off. They're living pretty nice for what they have.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. My point is that she already has 2 girls that she knows she is going to have to find husbands for. Because going back to what I was saying earlier, the history of marriage and everything, she's got to find somebody willing to marry both of her girls. Now she's got to worry about Cinderella. And let's be honest, Cinderella is not her daughter. Now, this is a terrible mindset to have if you have stepchildren. You should treat your children as you would any biological children. That goes without saying. Yes. I don't approve of how she treats Cinderella. But for a woman of her time, she has to know that Anastasia and Drusilla are working with a bit of a handicap in the marriage market.
I mean, if y'all remember that scene where they're practicing their music lessons and how much of a bad performance both of them gave, and the look on her face where it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. So she knows her daughters are working with a disadvantage, and Cinderella, although we get is Cinderella singing on the staircase as she's scrubbing the floors. Cinderella is beautiful. She's got a beautiful voice. She's batting 100 without even trying, and Anastasia and Drusilla are on the bench. So my argument is that while Lady Tremaine is not a nice person, she is a lady of her time. She's trying to secure her spot, and she's trying to secure her daughter's spots. Because for a mom, that's what she cares about, is making sure that her children are set. Now, as I have said before, she should have cared about Cinderella just as much as the other 2. That does not make her a nice person. But is it a crime?
No, but you're not winning any sort of Parenting of the Year awards.
Well, that's not what the argument's about.
No.
I mean, I can see both sides of this coin, but feel free to leave us a comment on where you think Lady Tremaine lies. Is she unredeemable, or can you see the argument? I mean, how is Lady Tremaine any different than Mrs. Bennet from Pride and Prejudice? Well, the fact that Miss Bennet had 5 daughters starts there, but still, it's the lady of the time. She's got to get her way going.
That's all you, sweetie. I do not agree on your perspective, but again, let's have the viewers, leave a comment and see what you think.
Exactly. But also, Lady Tremaine is a great segue. Ask me why.
Why?
Because Lady Tremaine is the owner of Lucifer the cat.
Lucifer
mean.
Yeah.
So Lucifer is actually one of the characters that is listed on the Disney official villain pantheon. Mm-hmm. I don't quite understand it because he's a cat.
But he plays I guess there's no other way to put it, but he plays a evil cat so well.
But he's a cat. I mean, my favorite moment with Lucifer is when Cinderella is trying to, do things quietly and not wake up Lady Tremaine, and she's like, Lucifer, come here. And he just turns around and just he just shows her his butt.
Yep.
He's like, nope, because anyone who owns a cat.
We have 3, by the way.
Yeah, anyone who has ever owned a cat or spent any time with a cat knows that is just their go-to status. Like, yeah. That's just their way of saying no.
Unless you have food, you essentially don't exist.
Exactly. You don't serve a cat, or you don't own a cat owns you.
Yeah.
But Lucifer is not mean. He's not wrong. He's a cat.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people say, he's going after Jacques and Gus, but it's just like, again,
he's a cat.
And he's going after mice.
I would be very upset if our cats didn't go after a mouse. Because, let's be honest, it's like, hey, earn your keep, dude.
Yeah.
So, he's a cat. But this brings us to our third topic area, which is animal villains. See, I told you there'd be a connection point here.
Yeah. Oh, before we go on to animal villains, though, I will say at least my favorite part of Cinderella involving Lucifer is when he's chased out the window by Bruno.
Once again, though, he's a cat. Bruno's a dog. That's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. Bruno has his shining moment because, throughout the movie, all he does is sleep for the most part. He's an old dog. He's probably been around since Cinderella was a kid.
Yeah.
So the fact that he had that one last charge in him was just like, get him, Bruno.
Yes. But once again, Lucifer is not wrong. He's a cat.
These other villains, on the other hand, yes, they're animals, but they do have some intelligence to them.
So let's kick it off with Shere Khan from Disney's The Jungle Book.
Now, for those of you that have not seen The Jungle Book, or it's been quite a long time since you've seen The Jungle Book, which, I mean, to be honest, is a good portion of you, let's just all put it out there. Shere Khan is the tiger. Shere Khan is essentially like the one that Bagheera and Baloo are trying to keep Mowgli from meeting because, as Bagheera puts it, he hates man.
But he's a tiger.
Yeah.
So the argument herein lies to prove how Shere Khan is not wrong. Shere Khan's main argument is that the man cub cannot be trusted. The man cub will bring destruction to the forest. He will destroy the jungle. I mean, I hate to agree with the villain, but he does kind of have a point.
Yeah, because let's all face it, a lot of animals, especially nowadays, are considered on the endangered species list because of habitat loss.
So Shere Khan is simply a tiger trying to defend his home. And one could argue that he actually does it quite well, all things considered. I mean, he tries to be very diplomatic about it at first. Yeah. He approaches the wolves and is like, give me the man cub, we need to get him out of here. And the wolves are like, no, he's ours. And then they give him to Bagheera to keep him safe. And, Bagheera and Baloo try to keep him safe, but Shere Khan's like, you guys know it's wrong. I know it's wrong. Let's level up. We're all in the same thing. We all want to protect the jungle. And they're like, but Mowgli's home is in the jungle. But it's not. It's with the humans.
Yeah.
And Shere Khan is probably feeling like he is the only one making any sense in this film. Because he's like, man will destroy the jungle. We live in the jungle. If we keep the man cub, we will lose our house. And the fact that everyone is arguing with him, with the exception of his basic sidekick, Kaa, and the vultures who are just trying to get a meal out of everything.
I mean, even the vultures are starting to just like, whatever, man. It's just whatever. It is what it is.
Yeah. But I mean, you gotta think about it. Shere Khan probably was like, I am the only sane person in this jungle. Now, you've all lost your minds.
Now, Kaa, on the other hand, he just wants to eat them.
Kaa is creepy. Kaa is wrong.
Well, that's
Shere Khan is not wrong, but Kaa is wrong.
You're just saying that because he's a snake.
I do not do snakes. I can do lizards. I can do things with legs. I can't do snakes. Which segues into next villain, Joanna the Goanna.
These are not Joanna eggs.
So Joanna is from the Rescuers Down Under.
A truly underrated Disney film.
It is a sequel that was done very well.
Everyone kind of forgets that it exists because it was sandwiched between The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast.
I mean, yeah.
Because, and to be honest, and while both Tori and I love the original Rescuers, it's kind of like it was during Disney's not necessarily dark era, but more like the era that it was kind of trying to recoup a lot of losses it suffered.
Well, I feel like it was the era because Ariel was really the start of the Renaissance.
Yeah.
So it's one of the Disney Renaissance films, but it got overlooked because it was a direct to VHS sequel.
It had a theatrical run.
Oh, never mind. You learn something new every day. I didn't know that because I didn't go see it. But it's great. It really, and I personally, this is my opinion, I feel like it was a great way for Disney to kind of profit off of the crocodile hunter craze without directly doing anything.
Or
because it takes place in Australia. The main character, Cody, or the little human boy Cody, looks exactly like an Irwin.
Yeah. It's also kind of coming off of the Crocodile Dundee popularity in the late 80s.
It was great. But it has all the greatness of the original Rescuers, with the little tiny mice helping to make big change. But they introduced new creatures, new animals. Because it's in Australia, so
yeah, we have the kangaroo rat,
the kookaburra,
the kangaroo, the koala, the frilled lizard, and of course McLeach.
Yes, McLeach, the evil poacher. And this was also a great film for Disney to highlight to the millennial generation the evils of poaching.
Because if for those of you that have seen the film, if you remember, Cody is trying to protect the last golden eagle from McLeach, because McLeach killed the male, and now there's only a female with 3 eggs.
So she's got to take care of them.
Yeah. And with McLeach, we obviously have Joanna.
Yes. McLeach's right-hand reptile is Joanna the Goanna. Now, I am sad to say that I was well into my 20s before I knew that Joanna was a goanna and that her name was kind of a joke.
Yeah. For those of you that don't know, a goanna, thank you, is essentially a species of monitor lizard. It's essentially like a giant lizard on par with the Komodo dragons. They're not as big as Komodo dragons, but they're in the next of kin in terms of classification.
But she is a great character. She has so many wonderful facial expressions for a character with no lines.
Oh yeah, she has no dialogue.
which that needs to be its own episode in itself, is characters who had no official lines but stole the show.
Yeah.
Anywho, but Joanna the Goanna is the right hand of McLeach in terms of the animals. She helps him track down the animals. She helps him keep them captive. She almost eats Bernard and Bianca.
I mean, and she was also the one that actually got the golden eagle eggs from the nest.
Yes. Oh, goannas eat eggs.
Yes.
Just so you know. Which is a big problem when the whole survival of the species revolves around them.
Yeah.
But that being said, is Joanna wrong?
I mean, I feel like this is kind of a lot of it for this podcast, but yes and no, because, again, she's just, granted, she is an exotic pet for McLeach, but she's still an animal. She's still running off of, like, her natural instincts, and while, she does follow McLeach, you can pretty much make the argument that McLeach trained her to keep the animals at bay, essentially be like a guard dog.
So, some spoilers ahead if you haven't seen Rescuers Down Under, which if you haven't, stop this podcast, go on to Disney Plus and watch it. Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah.
But one could argue there is another villain animal in Rescuers Down Under just for the psychological warfare that he plays.
What is that?
So in McLeach's...
Oh, wait. Are you talking about the koala?
I am talking about the koala. So in McLeach's lair, where he has all these animals that he is going to sell on the black market or trade, like he's got a kangaroo, he's got the koala, he's got a frilled lizard,
he's got a kookaburra, he's got like a wombat or two.
And this is also where he keeps Cody prisoner.
Mm-hmm.
The frilled lizard is this wonderful character named Frank. And Frank just knows, he believes that he can use his tail to escape the cage. And he is trying so hard. And he believes in himself so much. And the koala is just like, it's never gonna work. You are stupid. This is stupid. The koala goes as far to be like, yeah, we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna be a handbag. They're gonna be a pair of shoes. And Frank...
Don't say it.
Frank...
Don't say it.
A purse.
A purse? Oh.
A lovely lady's purse. He torments him. So the koala is wrong. And Joanna is simply trying to get some breakfast. That's my opinion. I do not think Joanna the Goanna is a villain. But that really does highlight a thing where so many Disney villains have sidekicks or secondary characters that are animals.
Yeah.
That because of the primary villain they're associated with, the sidekicks get labeled as evil.
Yeah, it's like, a dog attacked someone. Yeah. Who trained it?
Exactly. Well, I was going to go with more like, for example, Maleficent,
Mm-hmm.
mistress of all evil.
Wahahaha.
The Disney villainess,
Yeah.
the end-all be-all, has a raven.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Diablo. In the original animated, in the live action, they gave him the name Theobald. He is a bird. He is not evil. He is not actively trying to kill Aurora. He is just relaying information to Maleficent.
The worst thing he ever does is essentially trying to warn Maleficent that Prince Philip is escaping.
In the live action.
No, he also does that in the animated version too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just remember when the fairies break him out and then Merryweather chases him up the tower? Now, with that being said, let's move on to the original Rescuers film and the alligators that Madame Medusa has, Brutus and Nero. These guys, kind of like Joanna the Goanna, while they're very fearsome looking creatures, and yes, they do chase Jenny, the little girl, around, they're just the guard dogs for Madame Medusa.
Yeah. They are not the ones who actively put a small child down a cave, essentially underwater.
Yeah. Who's trying to find a diamond, I think.
They're trying to eat some mice and some varmints. but they are not evil. Now, they look evil, but they're not wrong. And I do, but like I was saying, is that it's that tie to the main villain.
Yeah.
That gives a lot of the animal villains bad names.
Yeah, I mean, another one off the top of my head are Roscoe and DeSoto from Oliver and
Company.
Oh,
no. Roscoe and DeSoto are pure evil.
Oh, why?
They actively go after Oliver. Oliver's a cat.
But they're dogs.
Yes, but they're evil Doberman.
So Bruno going after Lucifer is okay, but DeSoto and Roscoe going after Oliver?
They also are total sleazebags to Roxy. Yeah. Unwanted physical advances. They can't take no for an answer. There's somebody else who we're not talking about in this podcast because he can't take no for an answer. And he made it all a Francis problem.
Fine.
So Roscoe and DeSoto, I feel like, are exceptions to the rule. Kind of like Flotsam and Jetsam.
The Ursula's eels?
Yes. Now, spoiler alert for Saturday. We're going to be talking about Ursula.
Yes.
But let's talk about her cronies real quick.
The two moray eels that she has.
Flotsam and Jetsam. They act as an eye for her outside of her cave, but they actively interfere with Ariel getting her happy ever after.
Yeah, if you remember during the whole kiss the girl sequence, they're about to, Eric and Ariel are about to kiss, and then their boat capsizes, and then it's revealed that Flotsam and Jetsam capsized the boat.
Yes, so they are an example of animal villains tied to real villains who are actually wrong. They are always in the wrong. But a lot of the animal, quote-unquote, villains, I don't feel that they're really bad. They're just acting like the animals that they portray. I
mean, I could be wrong, but another example that comes to mind are the hyenas from Lion King. Because hyenas, they're very ravenous creatures, and, you know, the hyenas were duped by Scar to kind of follow his lead because he thought he would lead them to food, because if you remember, in The Lion King, Mufasa banished the hyenas to the elephant graveyard, where there is no food, like, whatsoever. Now, with all that being said, the hyenas did essentially run all the food off the Pride Lands and essentially make the place dry again, but you can also make the argument that it was under Scar's leadership that the hyenas did not know how to ration their food better and essentially make, you know, the Pride Lands another elephant graveyard.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
I do think that we are planning a discussion in the very near future about sidekicks and lackeys and how much of a role they play, good or bad.
Yeah, because while a big boss is essential, you need workers that'll essentially do your job.
Yeah. A queen bee is nothing without her worker bees.
Exactly.
So, but going back to the overall topic of this podcast, which was Disney villains who weren't wrong, a teaser for Saturday. So we talked about men of their time, we talked about a lady of her time, and we talked about some animals. Do we feel like we have sufficiently given a nice taste test?
I feel we did.
Yes. I will say that on Saturday, we will try to record the panel so that it will be up with the podcast.
Yes.
If not, we will give a recap at a later time, which we will discuss.
Yes.
And we hope that we either get to see you at Arkansas Comic Con or that you give us a shout out and let us know if you're liking what you're hearing or if you want to hear something else or if you have a different opinion. We want to hear other people's opinions too. I mean, we do say, who are we talking to? But we'd like to talk to other people as well.
I mean, that's why we're doing this whole podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, we do it because I talk to you, you talk to me, we both talk to Colin. We just stayed around as we decided to hit record.
True.
Sometimes we say something funny.
But we do want, you know, this podcast to grow and grow an audience. So, yeah, like Tori said, if you want to have a different opinion, or if you want us to talk about a certain topic, feel free to let us know.
Yep. Also, once again, shout out to our member Colin. We hope he feels well very soon.
Yep.
Especially since we got somewhere to be this weekend.
Yep. So hopefully we'll see you at Arkansas Comic Con, but if not, we'll catch you in the next episode of Mc&Marren. Hope you all have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.